A big warm greetings to all of you from my side. My name is Kinga Joó, and I will be speaking at this moment. I would like to kick off my intervention by thanking the Association of Women's Career Development in Hungary for organizing this much needed event on the situation of women 30 years after the political changes in Central and Eastern Europe. Girls born around 1989 1990s, the date of the political changes, are now pursuing their professional careers, fulfilling their family dreams, most hopefully doing both at the same time. The situation of women changed enormously in this region, but in whole Europe as well. You will hear a lot of relevant information and data from other speakers at this event. I will rather concentrate on recent developments. The topic of my intervention is new challenges in work-life balance, teleworking, and its impact on gender equality. I will be speaking from a European perspective as I represent a European institution, the Economic and Social Committee. In one short sentence, let me explain the role of our committee. It is a representative body of employers' organizations, trade unions, and other organized civil society interests advising the union policy-making bodies as the European Commission or the European Parliament. The committee was asked this year to issue an opinion on telework and gender equalities for the current Portuguese Union Council presidency. I don't think I need to give too many underlying reasons for the necessity of this opinion while practicing what I'm speaking about at exactly this moment, and most of you at this event, in the frame of CSW. Online meetings, distant and teleworking is the new reality for many of us. Also, our opinion has an additional subtitle. We are as well addressing the conditions so that teleworking does not exacerbate the unequal distribution of unpaid care and domestic work between women and men, for it to be an engine for promoting gender equality. In Europe, we have seen telework unexpectedly increased by the pandemic in the past months. Until 2019, only 5.4% of employed in the union usually worked from home, a share that remained rather constant since 2009. Eurofound, a European research organization, suggests that close to 40% of those working in the EU began to telework full-time as a result of COVID-19. This trend will most probably stay in the future, even if not in such great numbers. In other words, telework is not associated anymore with young high-tech or IT gurus, but it's a common phenomenon. Social scientists have long recognized that access to flexible work arrangements is a major contributor to gender equality, and telework is a way to provide the flexibility needed by parents. Under normal conditions, teleworking is usually done voluntarily, with a view to allowing the work to be arranged in a way that best meets the overall objective of the companies and employees, covering both employers' and workers' needs, and respecting legal and normative framework. The Union has already a framework agreement on digitalization from 2020 and on telework from as early as 2002. As for working in general, the so-called 3 A's, availability, accessibility and affordability of care infrastructure and services for children, people with special needs and seniors are another crucial prerequisite of gender equal teleworking. Here I would also like to refer to the UN Sustainable Development Agenda to show also a more global approach to the necessity for family support services. The agenda promotes to recognize and value unpaid care and domestic work through the provision of public services, infrastructure and social protection policies, and the promotion of shared responsibility within the household and the family as nationally appropriate. Speaking about the unequal distribution of unpaid domestic and care work, I have to mention some data. In Europe, women devote significantly more time to household work than men. The difference between men and women in terms of participation in childcare and housework increases even more among those who have children aged under 12. On average, women spend 62 hours per week caring for children, compared to 36 hours for men, and 23 hours per week doing housework, compared to 15 hours for men. It is also important to point out the worrying phenomena of always being connected, always on and reachable. In other words, the blurring between private and work life. No wonder that discussion on a so-called right to disconnect is going on for quite a few years now in the EU. Moreover, employees that frequently undertake teleworking are even more likely to work longer hours and over time have fewer rest periods and have less predictable and more irregular schedules. The reason for this can be the need to be available to work even outside of normal working hours and frequent interruptions. Findings show that while remote and flexible working can allow for a better balance between work and other responsibilities, for example childcare, it can also have a negative impact on work-life balance itself. Consequently, the negative impact of some aspects of telework have also grown during the pandemic, particularly some forms of discrimination for women. Some key positive and negative aspects were identified by the committee in its opinion. Let me list these opportunities and these risks now. For the opportunities, there is the increased flexibility in the organization of working time in general, and to a certain degree providing individuals with increased possibilities to organize their time to achieve the expected output. Increased flexibility in combining unpaid care responsibilities with paid employment, which can improve labor market participation. Opportunity for sharing the care for children or dependent family members more equally. Better inclusion in the labor market of those limited by barriers in society or in the workplace, example persons experiencing limitations due to a disability. Productivity gains through higher performance. A better spatial match between demand and supply of labor without the need for moving to another place. This could also result in reversal of the regional distribution of jobs between cities and rural areas. And time and cost savings due to the elimination of or decrease in commuting, and this could have a positive environmental effect. As for the risks, organizing the remote working space and concentrating on the job, especially when other family members work or study from home, and when the home space is too small to allow for a separate workspace. Access to proper office facilities, including ergonomic furniture, and to specialized or adequate equipment and programs, as well as training. Lack of personal contact and spirit of collaboration between colleagues, and the risk of becoming invisible in the work community. Reinforcing the unbalanced share of caring and housework based on stereotypical family roles. Increase in violence and harassment, including online harassment, lack of social support while being isolated. Lack of movement and interruption of daily routine and habits, as well as a pressure of combining work with home duties and avoiding blurring the boundaries between work and private life, which may give rise to mental and physical health issues, including more burnout cases. Misusing the new possibilities of monitoring and abusing personal data and challenges to monitor working conditions while at home. Cybersecurity and other security issues. risk of working longer and having too short resting periods resulting from not respecting the modalities of connecting and disconnecting. The inability of or difficulties for trade unions to protect workers' rights. Our committee believes that these risks should be confronted and compensated to avoid the pandemic and its aftermath bring more inequality between women and men to vast sectors of society. The target is to enhance the use of enabling technologies, in particular information and communication technologies, ICT, to promote women's empowerment. The Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 8, aims at sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all, and includes a target of achieving higher productivity, example through technological upgrading and innovation, such as telework. In my wrap-up, as the vice president of the largest family organization in Hungary, I would also like to share some specific aspects related to our Central European region in terms of best practices and linking up with the title of the event. In terms of labor market opportunities, Hungary is among the best performing in female employment growth rates, from below 50% to 67.6% by 2019, also among the other Central European countries, who as well recorded significant growth. The pandemic is having a negative effect on the rate of female employment across Europe. For example, a very alarming data, in Portugal, 9 out of 10 employees losing their jobs are women. My association believes that by maintaining or strengthening provisions that favor labor participation of women, and as already explained earlier by the 3A model, accessibility, affordability, and availability of services, it is possible to balance these negative effects. In Hungary, family support services are kept and additional ones are developed, as the universal coverage of kindergartens for children between 3 and 6 years of age for free, the expansion of nursery services for very young children available now also at the request of parents or companies, free meals for children of families in need, also while the institutions as a result of the pandemic are closed. Besides economic incentives and service provision, a cultural support is also needed to promote freedom of choice of parents regarding the configuration of their family work-life balance. Data show that Central and Eastern Europeans wish for the most support for families in Europe. It is crucial to recognize and to support the role as well as the work produced by parents, especially by mothers, the time, the effort, the investment they are doing for our communities and for our economy. I would like to thank you for your attention and thank again the Association of Women's Career Development in Hungary for organizing this parallel event.